Okay guys, this is probably the most excited I've been to cover a tier list since the release of the game. There's so much to talk about with Pure Fiction, Memory of Chaos. We're over here on Pride Win. They've changed the formatting. We'll talk about that. But like I said, I am super excited because there's just a lot of fun stuff that's happened with Pure Fiction. Pure Fiction in a game mode, I didn't find it incredibly fun or challenging, but the fun for me came in the fact that we've got some new units that get an opportunity to shine, and that's what I do like about it. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about the tier list, and then I have a lot of thoughts. We'll quickly touch on the Memory of Chaos tier list, but I think we're all used to that now, but I think Pure Fiction is the more enjoyable one to look at. And also, Pride Wind over here, they have changed the categories. We've got Damage Dealer, Specialist, Amplifier, and Sustain. Amplifiers being buffers and debuffers that amplify your damage. For instance, Pella is a debuffer, but she amplifies your damage. Then we have specialists. These can be either one, like any of the other categories, but they have key synergies. For instance, we look at Kafka. You know, she is a damage dealer, but she has that key synergy with dots that really make her shine. And then we've got a bunch of units that are classified as breakers. If you look at the Fire MC is not used as a sustaining unit anymore. The Fire MC is only really used to break enemies, and so that shield means breaker. So that's what we're looking at there. So let's quickly touch on the Memory of Chaos tier list because we're all across this, and then we'll go into Pure Fiction where I have a lot of thoughts and I want to have a big discussion there. So honestly, nothing crazy here that I think anyone's noticed. I think, you know, obviously got Run Mei in the game, and she's just like Bronya, like the same as Bronya. You can pretty much put her into any team. I think she's almost more splashable than Bronya, if that's even possible. I mean, you can still play basic spam Bronya if you don't have the skill points available to you. But yeah, she just enables so many things, especially when we look in Pure Fiction as well. But yeah, in Memory of Chaos, I don't think anyone's got any surprises here. It's been pretty staple for a fairly long time, and that's pretty much what we're looking at. And yeah, I'm really not going to dive too deep into this because the big thing I want to talk about is going to be the Pure Fiction one. Now, Pure Fiction, HERTA S+ tier, Serval S tier, Jing Yuan A tier. What the fuck is going on? So for me with this, I believe that this is catered around getting 3-star, which is the 60, was it 60,000, 60, whatever, the 60 thing. If it was around maxing it out to the 80,000 or whatever damage, the 80, whatever it is, like maxing it out, killing both the bosses, I think this tier list would change a fair bit, because then your bonus single target damage would be more applicable, and then things like you know, QQ, Danny Boy, Jing Yuan, you know, Jing Liu, they would probably go up, because I think a lot of people can get it done with the 3-star, but getting to the max damage is a different thing, and I think you have to play it a bit differently. That is just my personal thoughts here, but this is looking at getting 3-star, I believe, in the mode. So first of all, let's go through it. We got Argenti and HERTA. Now, I can't wait to talk about Serval, but we'll save it because I'm super excited about that one. Argenti and HERTA. Argenti, obviously the dude, and for me, this is a game mode that I like playing on auto. I just like putting it on auto and leaving it and just seeing how high I can get. And Argenti just plays it perfectly. He will basically just, if they, I believe the AI, and I'm still working out the exact functions of his AI because I have him on my alt account. If there is more, I think if there's 2 or more little mobs, he will use his ultimate at the half energy, and if there's only a boss there, he will save it up to get the big one to get that extra single target damage. His AI is just perfect, whether it be for going for 3-star or going for the max damage. He's an absolute monster. Then we have HERTA. Now HERTA, obviously the Kura is just completely broken for this, and I love that. I love that completely. Honestly, HERTA, after I made a video after a month of the game being out, where I built her on one of my accounts, and I actually enjoyed her. I found her to be pretty cool, but obviously she just struggled to keep up. There wasn't that AoE premise in the game, and now the AoE side of the game is there, and HERTA really does get a chance to shine, because, you know, those things are the mobs in this mode are taking damage super quick, and she can just come in and just keep twirling. It is absolutely amazing, and the thing that I like about it is too, through that, you know, I find in Pure Fiction, you do want a lot of speed on your characters so they can take more turns, so they can hit more stuff. But HERTA, you can actually probably just leave her. I haven't actually tested her myself because I don't have her built on my main account. But you can probably just build her with higher attack. Don't worry about the speed, and then just have other fast units that are going to be, you know, reducing that health, and then she's just going to go ham. And I think that is really, really cool. I think HERTA just being up there is fantastic when she's been down the bottom the whole time. I love it. Moving on, amplifiers, you know, Bronya, enough said. The Ruan Mei one, I love Ruan Mei in this because she makes anything with an AoE that has the right element, like an absolute monster. Like if you're using a Locha, and you use his AoE, things break from imaginary, you're just getting the damage in there. And it's just, she makes so many things so functional. Like your supportive units, Fu Xuan, Locha, Pella, anything that has an AoE that's going to be breaking things, she just makes them so viable, and it's crazy. I absolutely love her. I think she's fantastic. As we look into the sustains, we've got the more supportive sustains in here. Well, obviously we've got Huo, who is the most supportive sustain, so she has the energy buffs, which is going to be huge. Obviously the attack buff, but the big thing here is the energy boosting so that you can get those ults off more fast. Then we have Fu Xuan. Obviously she has the crit rate buff, but the big thing here is also, like I mentioned, she does have that AoE, which adds more capacity to deal more damage, but she has the more offensive playstyle as opposed to Locha, who's down here because he doesn't have as much offensiveness. To be fair, me personally, I'd probably look at Huo, then maybe moving Fu Xuan down to S tier. That is me personally, but with Fu Xuan, you can build her as a damage dealing, but you can still build Locha as a damage based one if you need to for this. I don't think you need to do that for the event, for this. I keep calling it an event because it felt like more like an event than a core mode. But yeah, you can build them both as DPS options as well. Then we move into the S tier. So we got Himiko. Obviously, Himiko HERTA combo, really cool. You get the breaks, you get the follow-up attacks, reduce them below. It's basically, like, it just reminds me of, like, day one, like, auto-farming the world mobs, and you just, like, come in and do that. Or, you know, if you're farming, like, for the experience, and you just do these two, and it's just, like no one actually uses a skill. They just like keep cycling through their two follow-ups, which is really cool. Now, Zilla in here, your Zilla has to be well built, I think. I haven't tested this. I've got a Zilla, but she's still level 70. I never built her because QQ's way better, and that's all there is to it. But with Zilla, I think you need to be able to like one tap things with your basic attack to be able to make her in the S tier. If you can't, then she drops, but if you can, she becomes more valuable because then she has the extra damage to be able to punch into those bosses, which the raw AoE units don't have as much of that damage. Then we have Serval. Now let me sit on Serval for a second because this is like the moment. So I've had since beta and in early videos and stuff like that, I've always been talking about passkey Serval, how she can do guaranteed 2 skill ult, which at the launch of the game, it was huge. But now because of this, you can put energy rope on Serval in this mode. Use passkey, which is the 3-star erudition one that gives you the extra energy. And basically you can do like almost every time, like I actually built Serval after I'd completed all this stuff because I wanted to test this. And so before this, by the way, I only had 3 DPS built on my account. QQ, Clara, and Blade, and I still could max star the thing. I don't think the mode is hard as long as you have gear. I don't have a Bronya yet. I did have a Ruan Mei. So like that's sort of where I was at on my account. I could still do it. But after that, I still built my Serval purely because I wanted to test this and have a play with it. But you can essentially, if I put energy rope on Serval along with the passkey, along with needing her E2 at minimum. Obviously you want E6 to get the damage, and basically because she's getting all the extra energy, you got so many shocked units, you're getting extra kills and stuff, plus enemies take attacks and they are going to do some splash damage and get her energy. You're basically doing 1 skill ults with Serval, which is really quite crazy and super nice. So like her ult, she's like almost like a mini Argenti, not quite as efficient as him, but like she has that feel, and I just love that feel in game. So I am super wrapped with Serval getting some love in this one. Kafka, obviously we have that AoE capacity with her. And I mean, she's probably going to synergize super well with Serval. I haven't tested that, but you know, Kafka, she's got the AoE, she's got also the heavier single target damage to help with the bosses. So she's a really solid unit for this type of thing. And also the follow-ups as well, so you can get extra breaks, move on, whatever you need to do. Then This one, Asta, like I said at the start, speed is really important. You don't, I feel like you don't have like speed limit breaks, you know, like a 134 speed. It's like you just want things to be fast so they can take as many turns, and Asta does that. So that's what she is in here for. Ting Yun, obviously energy regeneration, buffing attack, like enough said about Ting Yun, not too much needed. Blade, like honestly, Blade is fine for me. I feel like Blade with Jing Liu, these two, if they're in the same team, you can probably bump it up to S tier, because Jing Liu is going to make Blade proc more, which is going to make you clear the ads faster, which then as well means you're going to get to the bosses quicker, and then you're going to be able to nuke the bosses with these two, because you also have some decent single target damage along with the cleave that they bring. So I feel like these two together is really, really amazing. I haven't tested myself because I don't have Jing Liu on my account with Blade, and I don't have Blade on my account with Jing Liu, but I think the synergy is there to make it work. Now, as I mentioned, I was using Clara in mine, and my Clara is like a 100 speed Clara, so I didn't even build Clara for this mode. I just still had my slow Clara, and she was perfectly fine clearing through this mode. I think if you made fast Clara, it would probably work better so that she can get her AoE off more, depending on what support you have and stuff like that. Now, the reason Jing Yuan is down here instead of up in these tiers with things like Serval and HERTA is because the Lightning Lord, Lenny as Brax likes to call him, it's just the AI, there's one little mob left and Lenny wants to go, and that sort of stuff. I think if we were looking at maxing it out, like I mentioned at the start, getting the full 80,000, I think Jing Yuan would definitely move up, because then Lenny has way more weight behind him, because of the fact that you need that single target damage to kill the bosses as well as the AoE. But if we're just looking at 3-star, he's not as like efficient as a Serval with Passkey and Energy Road, because she can just basically spam ults and kill all those ads, which is what you're really trying to do just to 3-star the game. And then we have the Fire Trailblazer being used as that breaking unit. Once again, great when paired with Ruan Mei, because, you know, we got so much AoE with this character. You know, you got the cleave on the basic, you got the big AoE on the ultimate, and you can basically just do really solid breaking AoE as fire, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, down here we have Hanya, we have Pella, and we have Yukong. We mentioned speed being important, so we got the ult from Hanya giving that speed to an ally, which is going to be your main DPS, who's going to be wanting to do more attacks, which is super helpful. We got Pella, who is really nice. I actually love Pella for this mode because I pair her with my Ruan Mei. Once again, Pella has the AoE, we get the breaks, Ruan Mei procs. Pella has the defense shred, which is good for, obviously her AoE is nice for getting down ads like that, but also then it helps us with amplification on bosses to get the damage in there. And then we have Yukong. Now, the cool thing about Yukong is like she really excels if you're using something like a slow HERTA, or you're using something like an Argenti, because with the Argenti, he's going to be ulting so much that he gets more longevity out of this buff because of the ults he's going to be doing. So a team I would love to test if I had every unit would be Yukong with Argenti and HERTA, to see how that goes, because you're going to be keeping that buff maintained decently, I think, because we'll keep getting Argenti to go, then HERTA to go, and then Argenti to go, and then HERTA. I feel like it will have synergies. Once again, I could be wrong on that, but I think Yukong has more value with these two. Keeping in mind, all these 4-stars are considered to be at E6 for this one. We already touched on the Watcher, so I'm not going to go back into that. Then we jump down into Danny Boy and QQ. Now, I still think QQ's OP, and you'll never change my mind, but for this one, it's basically just the skill point issues. Depends on your team, depends on a bunch of things, but they're not as splashibly strong what people are seeing from this. Like I mentioned, I managed to clear the whole thing 3-star with just QQ, Clara, and Blade as my only built DPS units. But yeah, I mean, it basically comes down to skill point issues and efficiencies there. I definitely think Jing Liu outplays Imbibita Lune in this one. I think she outplays Imbibita Lune just about everywhere. E2 is a different story, but yeah, like I said, pretty much that's the basics there. Honestly, Sampo can be really good in this one as well with the AoEs and getting breaks and stuff like that when we look at Ruan Mei plays. You know, and we're getting down into that lower section here. I think Welt played as a high DPS. Welt probably goes up a bit. But the other thing here with the imprison and stuff like that is that I kind of want enemies to be doing attacks, because it's not super threatening attacks, but you want them to be taking turns so that especially in the current buff, so that they're exploding, and also so that they're giving you energy with their attacks. So I think that's the reason Welt goes down. If we had different buffs in the thing, maybe Welt goes up, but at the moment I think he sits there, and he definitely has the potential to go up in the future. Then we have a lot of single target focus here with these two. Gunaifen, honestly, I haven't even tested her, I haven't built her on my account, so I don't really have too many thoughts thoughts on Gunaifen in general. So you guys let me know what your thoughts are there. I'm not going to comment on something I'm not too across and I haven't really tested. Then down here we have obviously other sustained units. They don't offer anything offensively that these guys offer. I mean, we do get the little buff from Lynx as well, but in general, they're just like, if you need sustain, because you don't always need sustain. Then we jump down into some cleave options. We get Silver Wolf, and let's face it, single target isn't the main focus. She would probably bump up to B, possibly A, if we were trying to get the max 80,000, because then you need to kill the bosses as well, but that's not really too much of an issue right now. Then March and Natasha, not much to say there. And then down here, we just have the, you know, the more single target focused, which is where the game does not lie. So that is a look at the tier list. The other funny thing I wanted to mention is when we look at Memory of Chaos, remember that one window after like 2 weeks where Yang Qing was like S tier? Rip. Anyway, that is a look at the tier list. That is my thoughts. Like I said, with the game mode of Pure Fiction, I like it that it enables more characters to shine and have a place. But the problem is the game mode is still very easy in my opinion, and you don't need these things, so it's more of a luxury. And yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see your guys' thoughts on Pure Fiction. What do you guys think about it? What do you think about the game mode? Like I said, I just like the fact that we're getting mixed up tier lists with HERTA on S+ tier, and it just makes me smile. So that is going to be it for this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.